Our top focus on WION right now. Kiev's relations with its most important wartime ally have been driven to a new low. Donald Trump cut short his meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky and said that the Ukrainian leader is not ready for peace with Russia. The clash is an extraordinary shouting match in the Oval Office, has thrown question marks over chances for a truce. Zelensky was meant to be making a full White House visit to sign a minerals deal with the U.S. as part of a post-war recovery in a U.S.-brokered truce. Instead, an ugly clash blew up almost immediately in the Oval Office, where Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance shouted at Zelensky, accusing him of not being thankful for U.S.'s help in the three-year war against Russian invasion. Trump berated Zelensky, telling him that without U.S. assistance, Ukraine would have been conquered by Russia. According to a U.S. official, the Ukrainian leader was told to leave.
And we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
allowed.
cabinet.
You haven't been allowed. We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment.
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military. If you didn't have our military equipment, our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
maybe
new.
Less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
Now, the extraordinary meltdown came after Trump said Ukraine will have to make compromises in a truce with Russia, adding that they hopefully will not be as big as some people think. But showing Trump pictures of war atrocities, Zelensky said there should be no compromises with a killer on their territory.
You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course.
Zelensky left in his motorcade shortly after without holding a planned joint press conference. The White House has said the resources deal has been left unsigned. Trump took to his Truth social platform to castigate Zelensky, saying he disrespected the United States of America in its cherished Oval Office. Trump further wrote that Zelensky is not ready for peace and can come back when he is ready. The meeting had appeared to get off to a friendlier start. That's when Zelensky said, "I think President Trump is on our side." But it was soon followed by dramatic public breakdown to culminate the long tense relationship between Zelensky and Trump.
But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? This is going to be great television, I will say that.
Trump has said Zelensky overplayed his hand during their clash at the Oval Office, accusing his visitor of wanting to drag out conflict with Russia. While departing the White House for his Florida estate, Trump said he wants a ceasefire now. The U.S. president accused Zelensky of looking for something that he is not looking for. Well, after the clash, Zelensky told Fox News that he respects Trump and the American people and that the relation between him and Trump could be salvaged. But he declined to apologize, saying he's not sure that he did something bad.
Regret that? Are you regretting that that happened today?
Yes, I think it was not good. I think it was not good.
Do you think your relationship with Donald Trump, President Trump, after today, can be salvaged?
Yes, of course, because it's relations more than two presidents. It's the historical relations, strong relations between our people.
Well, after the appalling spat, Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal has reaffirmed that peace with Russia without any security guarantees is not possible. He said in a social media post that ceasefire without guarantees is the way to Russian occupation of the whole European continent. And well, to talk more on this, we are now being joined by John Erith from Washington, D.C. He's a Senior Policy Director for the Center for Arms Control and Non-Proliferation in Washington, D.C. Welcome to WION, Mr. Erith.
Thank you.
Now, like you also saw, the meeting in the White House did not transpire the way it was expected. An unprecedented heated exchange. Trump has now said that Zelensky does not want peace, and the Ukrainian president says that he does not feel the need to apologize. First up, talk to us about the consequences of this fiery exchange, with Trump time and again asserting that Zelensky, you are not in a good position.
I think certainly this will complicate the efforts to seek a peace process, which was always going to be difficult. These are two countries that have completely opposite views of the future of their region. So bringing them together was always going to be very difficult. Now one of them feels isolated and alienated, and so it is going to be that much more difficult to reach some kind of agreement between the two. I think that it was very clear that President Trump was let down by his advisors. He was not briefed that what the situation in the war actually is. He approached the matter and approached the Ukrainian president as though Ukraine had been defeated. That's not the case. The war is going on. It's very difficult fighting with a lot of casualties on both sides, but it's fairly even fighting as well. Ukraine does not feel defeated, and they're being asked to give up everything. So it was not a good approach to take. And clearly the president's talking points seem to reflect a view that Ukraine has lost everything and, as he said, has no cards to play.
Right, Mr. Erith. And Trump also said that Ukraine would have been defeated by Russia in a time frame of a week if there was no U.S. military aid. I also want to talk to you about how the mineral deals that has not been signed, and that was a pretext for the ceasefire, that was something to build on. If the mineral deal was signed, which has not been the case right now, do you think that there is any chance of getting the deal passed through now, with Zelensky saying that maybe the ties and the relations with Trump can be salvaged?
Well, in the first point, if U.S. military aid was all that important, there would still be a country called South Vietnam. So the conflict is much more than who is providing aid to whom. With regard to the mineral deal, it is still possible that it could be signed, but both countries are going to have to decide it's in their interest to do so. The mineral deal by itself was never going to fix the problems that caused the war, but it would establish a better, more productive relationship between Ukraine and the U.S. and set the conditions where the U.S. continue to provide economic assistance after the war's over. So it's good to have, but not necessary.
Right, Mr. Erith, my last question to you. How are European leaders viewing all of this? Because we saw before Zelensky's visit to the White House, the UK Prime Minister and also the French President, they were trying to woo Trump to back Ukraine. And after the fiery clash, Europe says that Zelensky, you will not walk alone. So how is all of this being viewed on the global stage?
I think how it's being viewed on the global stage, as in the United States as well, is dependent largely on what you think of President Trump. People who did not like him, such as the leader of France and the UK, will not be able to have a very good relationship with him in the future. This will make it worse. People who supported him, such as Senator Graham, who you quoted in your intro, will continue to do so. So once again, President Trump has made this about President Trump.
Right, Mr. Erith, and we'll wait and have to see how this pans out on the battlefield. But thanks very much for joining us on WION with your insights.
You're welcome.